Hello everyone! So today I will show you a very easy and perfectly working way of painting a watermelon with watercolors. So let's begin. I will use two shades of red for the red part, so it's the Vermilion and Scarlet Lake. And for the green part I will use the Sap Green and Hooker's Green Light. So first I'm starting with painting my watermelon slice with just water. So it's a wet on wet technique. It's important to make a good shape because that will be exactly the shape of my watermelon later. It's also important to make a very homogeneous and not very wet surface. So it shouldn't be too dry, but it also shouldn't be too wet, so the water shouldn't collect somewhere. The paper should just be shiny, not too dry, but shiny enough and homogeneously shiny. So now soon you can see how shiny the paper is. Exactly. So it's homogeneously shiny. Now I will start with the button, like with the green part. For that I'm taking the sap green and making a stripe to the bottom, but not to the very edge. To the very edge I will make the Hooker's Green Light. You know, the very edge outside of a watermelon is just like darker green typically, and then in the inside it's a little bit like fading towards inside. So these two colors blend into each other very well and make a very nice and realistic effect. As next I am taking the two red colors, like it's more vermilion than Scarlet Lake, but you know, watermelon has a very bright red, which is also a bit like pinky. So I'm starting from the top because the center of a watermelon is the reddest place, and then I'm pulling the color towards the green area. It's important that I'm not like pulling it just until the green area. It's important to leave a quite like large space of white area. Well, there is this white area in the watermelon, and the red and green parts will also bleed into this white area more or less. So then I'm just leaving it for drying. So once it's dry, you can make the seeds with just black. So I'm taking it quite like loaded black, and I was just making like 3 dots. Yeah, 3 seeds basically. You can also make more. Maybe you can just pay attention that you don't make at the very top, because a watermelon doesn't have at the very top seeds. So now I also want to show you some common mistakes or mistakes you want to avoid while painting these watermelons. So one mistake would be that the watermelon is just too dry, or that you're not quick enough. Maybe you're mixing your colors too late, or your paper is just not wet enough, or if you especially start from the red part, because it takes just longer until you make the green part, it can happen that the paper is just getting dry. So that's such a case. You will just see when I'm painting the green part that the paper is already actually way too dry, and the green is not blending the way it should blend actually into the water area, white area. So now I'm taking the green, and you can already see like the green, the way I painted there, doesn't really start bleeding. It just stops there with a clear border. Between the darker and lighter green, there is more bleeding, but the light green doesn't really bleed into the white area. And you can also see that the red area doesn't bleed into the white area homogeneously either, because it's just partly dry, the paper. So I was just trying a little bit to save that, but no, you can't really save this mistake. So as a result, I had a very inhomogeneous, not natural looking border between red and green and white. So another mistake will be that your green area is just too narrow. Now I'm making the green part, but I didn't really give enough space for the green part. So for this slice, it's actually way too narrow, the green part, and I cannot really make it thicker because I made my red part already. And you can see again that the green is not really blending very well, at least at the very right corner. Yeah, it's just not blending homogeneously. So that was another mistake. Now we are coming to the third mistake you want to avoid, and that is not leaving enough space between the green and the red part. Like, you really need this white space. So you will see it soon that the parts are just like blending into each other without having a white space in between. So this time I was starting from the bottom to avoid that the paper is just getting dry when I'm already at the, like, when I want to make the green part. Now I'm making the red part, but yeah, as I said, the mistake is just pulling it way too low. I could have stopped here, it would be much better, but yeah, it's just too much already. You already see that the green parts and the red parts are just blending into each other, which you absolutely don't want. It doesn't really look like a watermelon then. Alright, so that was it. I hope you enjoyed this video and see you in the next one.